Hello, my good people. Hello. Look, this is Poetic People Fighting Racism. The show will start in approximately 4 minutes and 30 seconds. But if you're watching this in replay, feel free to fast forward past this spot and get right into the show. Also know that you can watch this show on YouTube and Facebook, and you can also watch it right on my website, which is knowtobestill.com/podcast. Now you can also comment through Facebook for sure, through YouTube maybe, and you can definitely send emojis between both of them, either one of them, that will work. So please do that. It really helps my energy when I know that you're there. Because on the new platform here, I can't always tell if you're there or not, whether you're watching live or not. So please do that. It's just a way for me to see you're there. And it's like a, hi, what's up? So we got about another 3 minutes and 20 seconds, that is. And we will start the show with me, Anthony Cordova. All right, so please stand by. See you in a few. All right, we've got about another 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And tonight the episode is going to be, what's your caste? That's a loaded question. Do we know what our caste is or not? But we're going to find out in a few. So please stand by. All right, we've got about a minute and 52 seconds, and you'll see me, and I'm going to do some poetry tonight. But if you're any type of artist at all, I welcome you to come to the show and do your poetry, or if you're a singer, come to the show and maybe sing something for us. If you're a painter, let's do a painting. Let's see what you do, what type of work you do, and we can discuss that also here on Poetic People Fighting Racism. Now, Poetic People Fighting Racism is a safe environment. Excuse me. It is a safe environment, so you can come here and ask any question you wish. And there will be no anger and no fighting among us. Just a nice, friendly conversation. Also know, if you want to be on the show, actually be here on the show, be seen and be heard, there'll be a QR code that pops up. All you have to do is scan that with your phone. And also on Facebook, there'll be a link there, and you can click that link and it'll bring you right to the show live, where we can have a conversation and you can actually be on camera. So please stand by. We have about 25 seconds. Hey, I'm here. Welcome to Poetic People Fighting Racism. I'm your host, Anthony Cordova, Tony C, the man about love. I'm just trying to spread a little love every day with activism living inside me. So what in the world? What in the world can I do? Can you do? Can we do with just another online show? Let's see where we go when we deal with real discrimination. Let's show how we use what we have with poetry. Let's show how we live with real racism, taking our breath away while taking our lives away every day we wake up. We take steps to make us better and stronger the longer we live with poetry in our souls as we grow old and wise. This is why we're on this journey. Because we are seen as the others, not brothers and sisters. They got us playing Twister, just waiting for us to topple down, always trying to keep us underground. But we keep rising and standing for our rights we already have. So let's do what we do with love and poetry. Every day. We can be the change we need because we are everyday people, creative, smart, and strong people. Poetic people fighting racism, we are. Poetic people fighting racism. That's you, that's me. Poetic people fighting racism. And I welcome you. I welcome all of you. So welcome again to Poetic People Fighting Racism. Here is another episode. Oh, this is so cool. I like doing this, and I'm so happy when you all come and check it out. And I'm really happy when you watch the replays. And, show it to your friends and show it to someone that might get offended because of the topics I'm talking about. It's okay. All right. What have we got tonight? Tonight, we're going to get into what is your caste? What is your caste? So let's start with class. Now, here in the United States, we all understand class. We understand the middle class and the upper class and lower middle class, and we know the poor class. We know all of these different classes. But what we don't pay attention to is our racial class or our racial caste. All right. As many of you know, I've written a manuscript. The manuscript I use for this show, it's called Living and Dying. And it discusses all things about enslavement and racism in this country and the caste system. Now, I had noticed, I don't talk that much about the caste system on this show, and I should talk about it more. I should. And just by the way, if you didn't know, I'm Anthony Cordova. That's who I am, and that's who I'm going to continue to be. So tonight, I'm going to keep things moving pretty quick. So tonight I'm actually doing 3 poems, and they're shorter poems, so it won't take me long to get through them. The first poem is They Say, the second one is Caste, and the third one is Never Admit. And I'm going to read these in consecutive order the way they are in my manuscript. Now, I make reference, and some of you know this throughout my manuscript, to the blue and white eyes. And who are the blue and white eyes? Who am I referring to? And I'm not necessarily referring to people with blue eyes. I'm referring to the people that feel they are superior because they have European blood in them. And, they will call themselves, we're blue bloods, we're pure, we're the rich people, we are better than anyone else around. And these are the same people that can be racist. Okay. So when I talk about the blue and white eyes, that is who I'm making reference to. Now I'm going to make reference to the caste and caste system. And I'm going to get into that deeper right after I do these poems. But the caste system, there's a caste system in India, and everybody kind of understands that, kind of. But really, the thing is that we are in that here also. So, black people being formerly enslaved in this country for like 400 years would be the bottom caste or class in the hierarchy on who's most important. So in this country, it's the black people that are the least important on this caste system. And then it's the white people, and specifically white males, that are on the top of the caste system in the United States, and everybody else falls in between. Okay, somewhere in between. Where that is a loaded question. Okay, so that's caste. That's what the blue and white eyes are. So if I can find some audio, I'm going to get right into these poems and right into the show, unless there's something else I need to know from my producer, Jill.
You can say hello to Shannon.
Oh, hello, Shannon. I didn't realize Shannon was here. Hi, Shannon. Hi. I'm so happy that you're here, and I love it when people are here. So I'm going to get right into this poem, and I'm going to cue up some music. And some of you may have heard these poems. I've done one or two of them before on the show. However, some of these poems I feel I need to repeat sometimes. And I don't always do the poem or read the poem the same way. When I read it differently, there may be another impact that a person may receive. So here we go. And we're starting with They Say, and you'll kind of know when it switches to caste and never admit. All right, here we go. They say, today there is no racism, just a thing of the past. They say systemic racism and privilege for white skin is all in our heads. They say, forget the past, live in the present, look ahead to your future. But our future's under ceilings of glass made from blue and white eyes. We try every day to break through ceilings and bust down doors, but we're shackled to floors. Can't rise through ceilings. When we're dealing and feeling and living and dying and crying and living and dying from a system feeding on us and feeds itself with buckets and pandemic systemic racism, true red, white, and blue. Eating us from inside to out, parasites draining black souls dry while we try to survive a system infected with systemic racism, where systemic racism hides their elaborate system, where blue and white eyes control our lives, where we live and die, locked out and locked in, living and dying in a system controlled by them. It's an elaborate system the blue and white eyes created, wherein we are outcast, cast out, kept out, knocked down, kicked around, messed on, stepped on, and ground down. For the melanin in our skin, the darkness of our skin, less than just living and dying. They see us born alone, then living, then dying as less than. They don't see our loving mothers or our protective fathers. They don't see our strong black sisters or our strong black brothers. They don't see our intelligence or our fearlessness or our homelessness. They don't see our compassion for mankind, whoever they are. They don't see a black life, a black man, a black woman, a child. They only see less than not worth living, just dying. They're lying to themselves in every portion of this country by seeing us as the lowest of the low, below the lowest rung, seeing us only as less than, just living and dying, stealing and lying, and Black Lives Matter. Matter less, and less than, in their system of caste, hierarchy, and class, controlled by them, making us play the role of the less than. In their system of caste and ass kissing, their system of American systemic racism, their system that keeps us drowning in America's racial septic system, their system designed to keep us below mankind, below the human race, below the poverty rate. They're trying to make a case that we are lazy, worthless, and useless, and won't take care of ourselves without the help of our false white saviors, the blue and white eyes that control our lives. It was by design. The United States was created to keep Black lives ground down, oppressed and depressed, abused and used like tools to exploit Black lives in any way they see fit. They will never admit how much they owe us for exploiting us and building this country. They will never admit we are the backs and the bones and the veins of this country. They will never admit we are the blood, sweat, and unmarked graves of this country. They will never admit they use caste to control Black lives in this country. They will never admit it's not much different than before. It's not much different than today. It's been 154 years or so since the powers that be set our people free or so. It's been 154 years or so. We're supposed to be free since 1865, an illusion created by the blue and white eyes. Now we begin to realize our Black lives are not really, truly free. Not really, truly free. All right, that is done. That was 3 poems, really quick, all done. Woohoo! Yay! Glad I got through with that. Now, I don't know. I don't think we have any questions from the audience, and that can be in the form of comments if you wish, or again, if you wish to talk on the show and wish to be seen and heard, I welcome you to do that. There's a QR code. If my producer would pull it up again real quick. There is the QR code. So you want to talk to me live on the show, just scan that with your phone. That's if you're not watching on your phone. And you could do it that way. There's many ways to get on this show, but I don't want to confuse anyone. So if you want to do that, great. And again, feel free to type a comment if you are on Facebook. That will work. Okay, so what I usually do is I go through the poems and touch on some of the key moments of the poem that might need explaining, or I'm just giving my point of view and what I was thinking when I wrote the particular line. Okay, so I think a lot of you people of color will understand the opening of the show, of the poem, which is, they say, today there is no racism. Now, I had someone in my home, a Caucasian person, that felt that today there is no racism because a black person can buy a car and a black person could buy a house in this country. So, which meant, oh, there's no racism. You can get a job, you can buy a house, there's no racism. Well, yeah, I think there's still racism. There's still racism. There's still neighborhoods with, red line neighborhoods where, that's where they decide the black people live, and they will not show homes to black people in other affluent neighborhoods. I've had that happen to me. Searching for a home, they only show, even though my income was quite high, they only showed me like really run down neighborhoods, the real estate agent. So I'd have to get another real estate agent. And actually, I've had to go without a real estate agent and find the homes first and then go with a real estate agent so I can get in the house. And then sometimes they would flat out say, you don't need to move here. It won't be good for you. So there is still racism in this country, even though some people want to believe there is not. They want us to forget the past. Oh, hey, forget about it. Oh, yeah, you were, yeah, your ancestors were slaves, but don't worry about it because that's got to do with nothing nowadays. But unfortunately, people still will look at us with that mindset. That group of people used to be our slaves, even though they say used to be. But who else do they say that about? Is there any group of people in this country that they can look at and say they used to be our slaves? None. None. So we're looked at differently. So it's not just a thing of the past. They keep it with us. They keep it on us. So they see us as less than from the beginning, and I say that all through my manuscript, less than, because unfortunately in this country, that's how we're viewed. We're viewed as less than, not as good as everyone else. So okay, so we understand that. Let's see. Here, I say, we try every day to break through ceilings and bust down doors, but we're shackled to floors, can't reach locked doors or rise through ceilings. So what do I mean by all of that? And that's a load, We can't break through ceilings, and I make reference to this twice. So there's a thing called the glass ceiling. And the glass ceiling is an invisible ceiling, but it does exist for black people. So if you're in the corporate world, they will allow you to rise to a certain level. But when you get to a certain level, you're not getting any further than that. It doesn't matter how smart you are or how good you are at the job. Because you're black, they're going to make sure. And who are they? Who are they? They're going to make sure you don't go. This is your bosses. These are your white bosses. They're going to make sure you can only rise but so high. And if by some weird chance you get above that spot, chances are they're going to try to pull you back down. So that's what that is. So when I say we're shackled to floors, we can't bust through doors. So there's doors closed in our faces all the time just because of our color. And I mean strictly because of our color, our skin color. And when you think about it, how ridiculous is that? We might be the best person for the job. We might be the person that can take the company to another level. But they won't allow that to happen because they want to keep us as less than in that position. So it is like we're shackled to floors. We can't rise up because we're shackled to a floor. And we can't reach the locked doors again because we're being pulled down all the time. And we can't rise through those glass ceilings for the same reasons. Whew, boy, this is like heavy stuff. I understand that. And thank you for coming. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching in replays because this is difficult stuff. But we do need to discuss this so we can understand each other. So maybe you can understand how we feel. If you are white and you don't understand what we're complaining about, what we have to complain about, these are some of the things. And these things do exist. Well, why just make it up? Why just make this stuff up? We're not making this stuff up. It's the truth. It's reality. All right, let's get down to something else. So let's not do that. Okay, we're gonna move on to something else. Okay, it's an elaborate system the blue and white eyes created, and I explained who the blue and white eyes are. These are the people that feel they're superior because of their blue blood running through their veins and their white skin. Okay, and that's the only reason they feel superior. That's the main reason, not the only reason. So this system has been in place since they took our ancestors from Africa and brought them here and enslaved them. Okay. An enslaved person was the lowest of the low. An enslaved person was worse and worth less than a white mass murderer in prison. Okay, they much rather be with a white mass murderer in prison than have interaction with an enslaved person that they enslaved, by the way. We were viewed as less than human. And we continued to be treated like less than human during Jim Crow, when we were supposed to be free, an illusion created for us to see. But we were still being subjugated. We were still being abused. We were still being taken. They were still taking advantage of us. And how can they do that? They had the power. They had the money. They had the education above us. They had the government. Slavery was legal. To do whatever you wanted to do with another human being was legal in this country until 1865. Kind of insane when you think about it. That wasn't that long ago. That wasn't that long ago. Matter of fact, my grandmother, not my great grandmother, my grandmother was alive in 1865. And she wasn't a baby. Fortunately, she wasn't here in this country in 1865. But she was alive. and then moved to this country later. So not that long ago, not that long ago. Seems like it, but it's not that long ago. Okay, I'm going down to this. Here they see us born alone, then living, then dying as less than. Oh, here's the deal. Black women in healthcare, when they're having babies, are treated as less than in the hospital. This is why the mortality rate is so high in the black community, because we honestly are treated as less than, and especially women. Because even in the medical books, it says things like, oh, black people can take pain more than an average person, so don't pay them much attention when they say they're in pain. So when I say they see us born alone, the moment we're born, doctors are seeing us as less than. They give us less value. Some doctors, not all doctors. I never speak in absolutes, by the way, so know that. So we go through our lives and we're living, but we're not living a whole life. We're not living a free life because we're always being pulled over by police. We may be shot by the police at a traffic stop for not saying the right thing. Like not saying the right thing. You know, we're taught to say, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, sir, no, sir, yes, sir, no, sir. And the moment a officer sees that you are not afraid of them, that makes them afraid and angry and on edge. And it makes it easier for them to pull the trigger. It's the wrong move. So, you know, we're born, we're living, then we're dying. And for the most part, nobody cares but our family. These are the things that are still going on. Still going on. All right. The next thing we've got is real quick, and this is self-explanatory. They don't see our intelligence, our fearlessness, or our homelessness. It's just more of nobody cares. they don't care. Let's see. Let's move on. And remember, anytime during the show, you can ask a question or make a comment. And you will understand this. This is very quick. And Black Lives Matter. Matter, matter, less, less, and less than. All gains we may have made during Black Lives Matter, they're actively trying to take those away. All the gains we made during the civil rights marches and all of that in the 60s and the 70s, they're taking those rights away also. And why is that? Because in their hierarchy, in the caste system, we're down on the bottom no matter what. No matter how much we try to pull ourselves up, they're going to try to knock us back down, so we remain at the bottom of the caste system. And no one wants to be on the bottom with us. Anyone that comes from another country, they know what the caste system is. Oh, I don't want to be on the bottom like the black people. I want to rise above that. Gee, I just don't. I just don't know. Oh, let's move on. I'm moving on. Down, we understand that. And then the ending part, the last poem, they will never admit. They actually owe us. And that's getting into reparations. Once upon a time, I didn't believe we needed reparations. But in my life, to me personally, I've had business kind of be taken away from me. I would be much further in life if I didn't have other people, specifically white people, the blue and white eyes of people that believe they're the racist people trying to pull me down. And unfortunately, many times they were successful. They succeeded. And it's hard to build generational wealth when someone else is always trying to pull you down just because of your color. Just because of your color. We're supposed to be free since 1865, an illusion created by the blue and white eyes. But now we are beginning to realize, it's not much different than before. Not much different than today. We're still being killed. We're still being kept out of certain jobs. Our rights are still being taken away from us, and we are American citizens. Well, let's take rights away from a group of American citizens that used to be our slaves. Is that all okay? Is it? And what can we do about it? You can start being by an everyday activist. Do something, whatever you can. As you all can see, this isn't a show to make money. This is a show just to bring some awareness. And that's my part. This is something I can do. What can you do? Surely you can do something also. Think about it. And I'm sure you can. And just being in this show, being on the show, watching this show, or to tell your friends about it, or that is part of doing something. That is part of being an everyday activist. That is, oh, no, I'm not going to keep this to myself. You may like my content, you may like my poetry, but you're like, oh, I'm not sharing that with anybody. But maybe you should. Maybe they'll like it, maybe they won't. But it will make them think. That's one thing I know for sure. Even if they don't admit it, it will make them think. So, I think that's the show for tonight. I was trying to stay at 30 minutes, and I'm pretty close, actually. Yeah, I'm close. I'm only 5 minutes over. That's it, 5 minutes over. That's it. That's all I am. Yes. Okay, y'all. Make sure you check out Poetic People Fighting Racism with me, Anthony Cordova, every other Saturday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. The next show is June 1st. June 1st, and that will be episode 6. Also, check out I'm Right, I'm Right with me and Jill Cox Cordova every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern. And you can watch that on Facebook and YouTube, and you can watch it right on Jill's website at jillcoxcordova.com, and just click the podcast tab. And that's how you can check that out. So it's me again. I wish you all a wonderful day, a wonderful week. Try to be an everyday activist. Also, be love. Show some love. Also, do something different. Okay? The music you're hearing right now is called Stand Up Bass by Toby Bilski. And the music I played during the poems is called, Cocoa, and that is by Serta Beats, and you can check that music out on beatstar.com. So that's the show for tonight. I love you all. Until the next time. Bye.